All right, the media giving you the wrong information again, misreporting that dreamers are getting deported across the nation. USA Today writing breaking news this morning saying, quote, here's what they wrote. In its first month, the Trump administration deported far more immigrants brought to the U.S. as children than Obama ever did in 1 month, according to data provided by the Department of Homeland Security. Here's what they are not reporting, that these people are no longer young, innocent dreamers, meaning children of illegals born here. They've committed crimes. So now they're just regular criminals. And in fact, the media also not reporting that President Obama deported former dreamers too. So the number we got for 2012, what we could get in terms of that information, 365 there. Let's bring in, look who's here, Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Anna Napolitano.
Starting the day and ending it with you, my dear Elizabeth
We'd love to see you.
God bless you.
What do you think of this media's misreporting?
Well, the media is giving the wrong impression. So here's the law. Dreamers, people who came here as children, their parents are illegal, the children are Americanized, and they grow up. Nobody is deporting them while they are still children. They are capable of being deported as adults, but because they have become Americanized, the government is not deporting them until they commit a crime, felony or misdemeanor, or are accused of a crime, felony or misdemeanor. Now, I have argued it's very unfair to deport somebody when they're accused of crime, because the threshold for accusing somebody is very, very low. However, the statute permits it. And when the Trump administration enforces the statute, it's big news. Why? Because the Obama administration did not enforce the statute. It should not be newsworthy that the government is enforcing the law. We've hired a government to enforce the law. We had a president for 8 years who didn't enforce laws that he didn't like. We now have a president who's enforcing laws whether he likes them or not.
You're saying it should have been news that Obama didn't enforce the laws and we fell through the looking glass, you know, in the last 8 years.
Now, at one point, if you were here illegally but not doing anything wrong, they would only deport you if you were convicted of a felony. Then they lowered it to convicted of a misdemeanor. Then they lowered it to, Congress did, charged with a felony or charged with a misdemeanor. DHS is taking advantage of those statutes. If Congress doesn't like those statutes, it can change them back to the way they were.
Got it. Okay, in the Obama administration, next question. Obama and Trump administrations revoked the deferred action for childhood arrivals at DACA status of enrollees who committed serious crimes. They became affiliated with gangs or otherwise became threats to public safety. I mean, that's the law. And these dreamers who don't register, re-register, and re-register with the government, and they let that expire, they're technically really not dreamers if they don't register, right?
People who have been convicted of crimes, came here as a child, fully Americanized, grow up into young adulthood, convicted of a crime here, serve their time, get out of jail. The Trump administration is deporting them immediately, and rightly so. They came here as children, and they committed a crime. He has every right to do that. I think the American public expects him to do that. But a lot of them are not telling the government who they are or where they are because they're so Americanized. It is not apparent that they are immigrants who are undocumented and are here illegally.
Wow. All right. So, you know, here's the next question for you. Democrats in an uproar over the so-called Dreamer 23. He's the first dreamer deported by the Trump administration. We have House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi saying, quote, another promise cruelly broken by President Trump, this one with heartbreaking consequences for brave young dreamers across the nation. Instead of honoring the protections of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals initiative, President Trump unleashed an indiscriminate deportation dragnet of appalling inhumanity. But didn't the dreamer status also expire?
That was an executive order written by President Obama, which was invalidated by a trial judge in Texas. The invalidation was upheld by an appeals court in Texas, and the Supreme Court split 4-4 on it, which upholds the decision below. So Mrs. Pelosi is living in a fantasy world if she thinks that Donald Trump is going to enforce an executive order written by Barack Obama that the court's invalidated.
What is she talking about?
You're asking me what she's talking about? When she comes on this show and you get to ask her, I want to be here.
Okay, we will split screen the two of you in boxes. You're going to take her on.
I've sat next to her on a plane. She's a pip.
Oh.
But we don't agree on too much.
Oh, good. You should have videoed that on the plane with this. Judge Anna Napolitano, thank you so much. We love having you on. Come back soon. Next up, this story for you. The American manufacturing CEO who met with Trump telling to Fox News that, you know what, criticizing blue-collar jobs, he's sick of it. He's done with it. He's had it. It is now politically acceptable bigotry, these elitists looking down their noses. Look who's up. Actor and manufacturing advocate John Ratzenberger He agrees and he's here to respond. Don't go away.